Vanessa Pellegrini is a local restaurant owner who sadly lost her business. She joins us now. Vanessa, thanks so much for joining us, and I'm so sorry for what you've been going through.
Thank you, Emma. I appreciate that.
How are you feeling?
We're heartbroken. We're devastated. It's 40 years of our life's work, and it's gone up in 24 hours.
Whereabouts is your restaurant? Which fire was affected this?
We are in the Palisades fire. We're located in the Marquez Knolls, which is about a mile from Pacific Coast Highway, off Sunset Boulevard. We are about 3 miles from where the fire started.
So were you at the restaurant and had to evacuate? How did that all happen for you? Can you take us through those events?
We saw the fire. We heard about it. It's a pretty small community. It's very much like a village, and people were, scrambling to get out of there. It's really one way in and one way out, and that's why there was so much gridlock and panic, and that's why cars were left on Sunset Boulevard. And we thought it was just going to be put out like any other brush fire. We're used to this. This is what we go through in California. And then we got the call from the city and said, you need to evacuate and get out of there as quickly as possible. It took my people probably about 6 hours in traffic to get home. It was mayhem. It was the most chaotic event I've ever seen.
Vanessa, we saw some footage of a car being driven past what I assume was your restaurant. How did you find out that it was lost in the fires?
So 11:30 on Tuesday morning, we evacuated, and then we were glued to our TVs. Everybody was just trying to get out. At 2 a.m., I received a text message from a friend and a customer who was still there saving his house and our neighbor's house. He sent a text message and said, I drove by. The fire hasn't hit your building yet, but it's not looking good. And then about 10:30 in the morning, my neighbor who owns a liquor store next door sent me that video from a friend of his and said, I'm so sorry. It's all gone.
That must just be so devastating, not only for you, but the entire community there. If, neighbours have been affected by this and they've lost their businesses too.
The whole city it looks like a war zone. I mean, it is absolutely the most horrific event you've ever seen in your life. There's nothing left. It's burned to the ground.
There's a lot of anger we've heard already, frustration, heartbreak, as you mentioned as well. Can you give us an idea of what people are feeling at the moment?
I think they're feeling abandoned. I think people are feeling like we are the fifth economy in the world. And how could we not have water in our fire hydrants? How could we not have our reservoirs filled? How could we have $17 million cut from our fire budget? We're blaming our governor, our mayor. It's not the firemen's fault. It's not police. It's the infrastructure that has completely collapsed. It's criminal negligence. Insurance companies that have pulled out, canceled 13,000 contracts with people in the Palisades. Most of the people in the Palisades are an older generation. These are people who were blue collar workers who started there in the 50s. And there's no way they're going to be able to rebuild because there is no fire insurance for them to get. They were, forced to self-insure. Self-insurance was $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year. It was unthinkable. So I think you're going to see some anger, some frustration. But again, I think the people of the Palisades are resilient, like myself, like my family, and we are going to rebuild in spite of them.